everyone, and welcome to DynamicsCon conference for the community and by the community. Today, my colleague and I, we are going to speak about Power BI from zero to BI hero. And Stephen and I are really pleased that we can share our knowledge with you on how easily you can start developing Power BI report on top of Dynamics Business Central data, even if you are not a hardcore developer, as I'm not a hardcore developer. But let's start with some introductions. And my name is Renato Fajdiga, and I'm coming from Croatia, Zagreb. And I have more than 5 years of experience in implementing Dynamics NAV and Dynamics 365 Business Central solutions. I am also a Microsoft MVP, Microsoft Certified Trainer, and currently I work as a Dynamics 365 consultant in the company called Superbet, where I implement Dynamics 365 finance and operations system.
Hi and hello everyone. My name is Steven Renders. I am also a trainer and a consultant with, let's say, about 15 years of experience in Dynamics NAV and Business Central. I'm living in Belgium, where I spend my time doing consultancy and delivering trainings, usually about technical topics. And one of my favorite topics is usually always reporting and Power BI. And I hope that this session will help and assist you in getting to see the trees in the forests of the Power BI tools.
Thank you, Stephen, on nice introduction. And regarding our agenda for today's session and for today's DynamicsCon, we will start by describing what the Power BI is, what are the key concepts, and what tool you can use in which scenario. After that, we will start looking at how you can connect Dynamics 365 Business Central and Power BI. So what are the prerequisites and options to do that? After that, when you are happy with creating the Power BI reports, we will show you how you can easily publish these reports to the Power BI service and use it later in Dynamics 365 Business Central. Last but not least, we will show you what compelling scenarios you can use to integrate your Dynamics 365 Business Central with Power BI, Power Automate, and Power Apps. Also, one of the important thing is that you want to, for example, share your Power BI reports, and then you can use and leverage Power BI service to share your Power BI reports with your colleagues. So let's start with our slides right now. So when speaking about Power BI, what I would like to point is that we have two different scenarios. The first one is the Power BI desktop, the free tool which you can use to get the data from Dynamics 365 Business Central. Either this data is in cloud or in SaaS or on-premise, where you have your Dynamics 365 Business Central, for example, on your servers. After that you have your Business Central installed or configured, you can modify or transform the data inside the Power BI desktop, create powerful measures and calculations on top of that data. What also you can do is integrate your Power BI with Power Apps, and in that way bring entirely new dimension to Power BI. For example, you can edit your data in your Business Central data with Power Apps and do the analytics on the fly in Power BI. So when my data and reports are okay and I'm satisfied with them, the next logical step will be to share my reports with colleagues inside my organization. I can do that by publishing my Power BI report to the Power BI service. In the Power BI service, I can create various dashboards which can be created from multiple reports. So for example, Steven will create some reports, I will create some reports, and we will publish this to our common organizational Power BI service. And there I can build my dashboard from multiple reports. I can create a multiple workspace that combine dashboards, reports, multiple data sources in one application, which I can then easily share with all inside my organization. All those reports and data are extremely secure because we are using Office 365 authentication. Okay, so let's talk about Power BI and Dynamics 365 Business Central. No matter where your data is stored, either in cloud or you have installed Dynamics 365 Business Central on premise, so on your server, you can create and build the reports in the same way. So there is no difference between if your Business Central is installed on the server or it is configured on the SaaS. After you create your report based on Dynamics 365 Business Central data, you can upload this report to the cloud, which we call Power BI service. There you can use common language queries where you can ask Power BI questions about your data. So for example, on the English language, you can ask, show me the inventory in last month, or show me the current inventory on the blue location, and so on. So very simple to use. You can also integrate reports with Office 365, or you can use one of the predefined report templates for Dynamics 365 Business Central SaaS. And all this we will show you later in the demos. After you are good with your reports in Power BI service, you can embed these reports in various external services, such as the websites, or use these reports on your mobile. Later today, we will show you how you can integrate reports inside Dynamics 365 Business Central, or you can see how what are the possibilities of using the reports inside the Dynamics 365 Business Central. So, which brings us now to the first demo, where we will show you how you can connect Power BI with Dynamics 365 Business Central data. So, Steven, first demo is yours.
All right, thank you. Give me a moment while I take over the screen.
Okay, I'll stop sharing.
All right, small question. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
All right, let me give you a small demonstration on how you can get started to create Power BI reports based on Business Central data. And I always find it a good idea to start with the end result. So what we would like to be able to do is use Power BI Desktop to produce a report like we see one right here, and which is highly interactive and which is showing me data coming from Business Central, allowing me to slice and dice in many different ways. Now, this report is a very simple example based on the Kronos demo data, on which we can see the order intake. And the order intake has been defined as what is available on a timeline the next or the coming months regarding orders, what is going to be shipped. So whatever we have available, it is not yet invoiced in this case, and that's how I defined the order intake. We can visualize that information in different ways. And we can, of course, also make use of custom visuals, as you can see here, and we can make use of the nice aquarium, in which we can also visualize certain entities. Now, the question is always, how do we get to such a report? And my answer is, you need to build a star model. So within Power BI, we need one table in the center, which is then surrounded by other tables, allowing me to slice and dice the data. In the middle, we have actually the fact table, which contains the numerical data fields surrounded by the dimensions. Now, this information needs to come out of Business Central, and there are many ways on how we can do that. So if I switch over to Business Central, what you notice is that there are quite a lot of tables and fields. And as a user, we have the possibility to go to the assisted setup window. And when the assisted setup window opens, there will be a wizard available in there that will allow us to set up a reporting data. Give me 2 seconds for the screen to open. Here it is, the screen is open, and we can use this setup reporting data wizard as a user, in which we can very simply follow the steps to get some data published so that Power BI is able to import that data. And there are 3 things that we can do. And let's have a look again. We can create a new data set. We can copy existing data sets. And of course, we can modify existing data sets. Now, the wizard is very easy to follow. I'm not going to demonstrate it into detail. It's actually meant for key users or end users. The problem with this wizard is that actually it's based upon existing tables. Actually, they are pages and existing queries. And these existing pages and queries have been created by Microsoft. And personally, I don't find them very interesting to use. And that is why I always recommend for Power BI to create new queries from scratch. And the way to do that is by creating an extension. Now, when you create a new extension using the development environment, you can actually connect it to your Business Central instance and you can create queries. I already prepared a solution, as you can see right here. It contains 3 queries, one for the customer information, one for the item information, which are the 2 points in my star, and then the order intake query. Now, creating a query in Visual Studio Code is actually not that difficult. And let me zoom in a little bit. You define the query object, as you can see here on top. You give it a number and a name. And then using one or multiple data items, you can query data from one or multiple tables. Here, the name of my query is customer, and the table behind it is also the customer table. From the customer table, I will be fetching the number, the name, and the city, and any other fields I find interesting. But a good recommendation or a tip, I should say, is not to include too many fields. Keep it safe and simple, because if you add too many fields to queries, it will become very cumbersome and difficult for users to understand. We can always add more fields later if required. All right. Very similarly, I have also defined a query which is fetching information from the item table. Here I have an item number, item description, unit cost, unit price, and so on. Last but not least, I also would like to be able to fetch the order intake from Business Central. Difficult thing in the beginning to know is where is this data, and in this case, it's actually present on the sales lines. And I'm also interested or only interested in sales lines where there are items on them. So I'm only going to filter and get the items from the sales lines. By doing that, I'm able to pull in a customer number, location code, item number, shipment date. And if I scroll down a little bit, I also have the numerical data and the outstanding quantity and the outstanding amount. Using these 3 queries, I actually can fetch all of the information that I require. Now, a small hint is you will notice in my queries that I'm always using the data access intent property. I'm setting it to read only. What does it actually mean? It means that when this query is executed, there will be no extra load on your production database, but the actual select queries will be sent to a mirror, which Microsoft is always keeping up to date. So by doing that, at the moment that your Power BI report will refresh, there is no extra load on the server, which is pretty nice. Once you have defined the queries, the next step is to make sure that when you install your extension, that your queries will become available as web services in Business Central. The way to do that is actually by creating one small XML file in your project, and in that XML file, defining here a tenant web service for every query you would like to have available. So here you can see that I am using query 50,100. I'm publishing it and I'm giving it the name order intake customers. And I'm using this prefix in the name of that web service to make sure it is easy to find. Once you have done that, you create the queries, you create the XML file, you very simply publish the extension. And to verify that everything goes well, what you can then do is go into Business Central. And in Business Central, you can look for the web services window. You can very simply do that by going into the search and typing in web services. Simply open the window, wait for the web services to display. You might also want to change the sorting on the service name, which I'm doing right now. And when you do that, very quickly on the top of the page, you will see all of the queries that you might have created or published. And in this case, my 3 queries, customer, item, and order intake. Once these queries are available in Business Central, you can very simply go over to Power BI Desktop. In the beginning in Power BI Desktop, you will typically start from an empty page. And then you need to get data. You need to import these queries into Power BI Desktop. To do that, you can very simply click on Get Data More in the window that opens. And we wait a couple of seconds for it to open. You go to the Online Services and you select the Business Central connector. By doing that, the system will connect to your Business Central instance based on the credentials you provide in Power BI Desktop. You will see all of your production and sandbox environments, and you very simply select the one that you would like to use. When you open the environment, you will see a list of companies. You can select a company out of which you would like to fetch data. And inside of that company, you will see all of the web services that you have available, including the ones that we published. We very simply select one that you would like to have, click on the transform or the load button, and the data will come into Power BI Desktop. First, the Power Query editor opens, in which you have some possibilities to modify the data, but I will not go too much in depth there. After you modify it and you load the data, it then becomes available inside of Power BI Desktop. That's how I imported here my customers, my items, and then the order intake table. Once the web services are imported, or the data of the web services, you then need to go into the Modeling tab, and you need to create the relationships. Sometimes Power BI will do that automatically for you, sometimes it will not. You can very simply drag and drop the fields, starting from the fact table to the table in the points over the star to create relationships. And by doing so, I can link customers to order intake, I can link the items to order intake. And this gives me the possibility to then create some visuals in my report. For example, I can go here in Power BI Desktop, select the customer name from the customer table, drag it onto the canvas, and then select one of the fields here from that fact table, in this case, amount outstanding, and I can see the current amount outstanding or my order intake amount by customer. And by using all of the visuals that you have by default available, you can convert this, for example, into what you see right here. So here I used a matrix visual, a chart visual with fields coming from one or multiple tables. Because all of these tables are linked in the data model, that will make sure that when you click on a certain visual, the other ones will also auto update. So in a nutshell, explained very fast and very quick, and this is how you can create a Power BI report. So a small summary. The first thing that you need to do is create an extension where you create your queries, put them into the XML file, publish the extension, go to Power BI Desktop, import your data, create the relationships. Once you have the relationships, you can then play around with visuals. Last but not least, if you also would like to use the fancy aquarium or other visuals, you can go into Power BI Desktop, click on the Get More Visuals button, and then you can actually get more visuals from the Power BI website. So, a pop-up window opens normally in a couple of seconds where we can select out of hundreds of other free visuals available from the Power BI website. Here is the pop-up window, and you can see there are many of these visuals to work with. Now, one last point is that you should use the visual, which is best to visualize the information or to tell the message you would like the report to tell to the user. So in this case, the aquarium is very nice, but not a good example. If I would like to see the order intake, I'm actually interested to know what we have ready to ship the couple of months or weeks. So in this case, the matrix or a bar chart with the months would be more interesting. Once you have the report, you can save the report. We can upload it to the Power BI service, convert it into a dashboard, but that's something that Renato will now demo and explain.
Thank you, Steven, on these really powerful examples. Now I will share my screen. And first, what we will do, we will continue with a presentation to explain you what I'm going to do. So I will continue where Steven stopped and go with Power BI applications and Power BI service. In general, Power BI applications are out-of-the-box applications where you can, let's say, connect your SaaS solution and get some out-of-the-box reports. But it's more than this. So Power BI applications brings the predefined reports and analysis to the Power BI. And you need just to provide the URL of your tenant, and you will get the data inside the Power BI based on your tenant. As you can see, out of the box, we have 3 Microsoft applications for Dynamics 365 Business Central SaaS, so cloud solutions. And once you have the data, you can modify these reports to your needs. So for example, add company logo, change the colors, change the report layout, and so on. Or you can create your own Power BI applications. In that way, you will be able to share reports and dashboards with your colleague very easily. All these Power BI applications are based on Workspace, which now I will show you in Power BI. So I will switch to my next demo, which is sharing Power BI reports with colleagues. Okay, and now I'm in my Power BI service. So I logged into my app.powerbi.com, and here I can see that I have a various favorites and frequents and recent workspace which I used. On the left side, I can find all the reports which Steven created for me or which I created and so on. But if I open one of these reports, so let's say customer orders intake, I can see this in my workspace. So this is the workspace of the user admin. Here on the right side, I have my user. Right now, I want to share this with my colleagues, with Renato, who is working in, let's say, sales department. And to be able to do this, I need to create the workspace. So I click the workspace, and then I will create a new workspace. I will say sales data. And here I will the data workspace. I'll click save. In a few seconds, on the left side, I will see my empty workspace. And I can see that here I have that I don't have any content on this workspace. Okay, on the new, I can create a new report. I can upload the Power BI file, or I can add a data set. But what I want to do, as I have this workspace already, this report already in my workspace, what I will do, I will go to customer orders intake. I can change it, but when I navigate back to my workspace, I can click on Save a Copy. When I click on this, it will ask me where do I want to save this report, and I will save this to my sales data workspace, and I will say, let's rename this as sales order intake, and I will click Save. Okay. I successfully saved this report. And now when I navigate to the workspace and I get the list of all the workspace, I will have the sales data, and here is my report. But still, this is all inside my user. So this is only all attached to my user. And I want to give this access to my colleagues in the sales department. Okay, I'll go to my workspace home screen. And first, what I will do, I will create an app. Now I will say, okay, this is my sales data application. I can add a logo, I can add some support site, I can change the theme, and so on, and I can publish this application. Okay. In a few seconds, I will receive a message pop-up that my application is successfully published, and I will close this now. Okay. Now when I go to the apps and I click on Get Apps, okay. Here, if I try to refresh, in the workspaces, I will see my workspace. Okay, now to give the access to the users, I will click on Access. And here I can find one or more users from my tenant. And so let's say Renato, and I have here his email. I click Add, and I can add this user as a member or as an admin, contributor, and so on. And I will click Close. And now Renato, when he logs into the Power BI, so Power BI service, he will see this sales data. And before this, I can, of course, need to update the app to have the last updates. And when I will go to the app, I can see my application. So sales data, I see that it has this blue color. So this is my, let's say, company color. And I have this order intake report with 2 pages inside this report. Okay. Now when I go to the home, in the apps, I will see this sales data. So this is how you can easily create the application based on the your custom reports. But if you remember on the presentation, I said that we have some out-of-the-box applications. And to do this, and to enable these out-of-the-box applications, I will click Get More Apps from Microsoft App Source. And if in search, I write Business Central, I will find these Microsoft applications. So let's try with this one. And I can see that this is Microsoft application. The name is 365 Business Central for sales. I'll click Get It Now. And in the pop-up, I will click on Install. In a few seconds, Power BI will provision this application, and I will see it in the list of my application. Okay, I will click Go to the app. Not show this again. And as you can see, here I have my Power BI reports out of the box. But I need to connect this to my tenant and to my Business Central SaaS. To do this, I will click on Connect Your Data. What you need to provide is company name and environment. When I go to my Business Central, I can find my company name that it is Kronos BE. So here I will type Kronos BE. It can be your custom company name. This is the demo data. And I need to provide the what is the environment name. And here it is Sandbox BE. So my environment is called Sandbox BE. And I will click on Next. I will use OAuth 2 authentication. And I will click on Sign in. Okay. It will ask you to enter your username and password. So I'll do this. And in a few seconds, now Power BI will connect to your Business Central environment. Refresh will take some time. So we see that it's still some demo data which are not from my environment, because if I take a look at my items in the Business Central, they have some different names. So I will go. We are still refreshing the data. While we are waiting the refreshment of this data, I'll show that you can edit existing applications, or you can also go to your application and edit these Microsoft out-of-the-box applications. So when I click on here, it's still loading. On the workspaces, you will also find this application, which we provision from the Microsoft App Source. When you click on it, you will get the same view, like you are creating your own Power BI application with your own Power BI reports, dashboards, and datasets. Which means that if you go here and open one of those reports, you have possibility to edit standard Microsoft Power BI applications. So, for example, you can change this chart to something else which is more familiar with you, or which has more meanings for you. Okay, this is still refreshing. And now when I'm happy, I can save this and overwrite my existing report, or I can save as and create a new report, which will be part of my Microsoft Dynamics sales application. I will not do this right now. Let me just check if this is still refreshing. So, but we will return to this later. While we are waiting for the refresh, we continue with our presentation. Just a sec. Like this. Okay, so this is the way how you can easily share your Power BI reports from the Power BI service with your colleagues. Once I have my reports, I want to see them in the Business Central. Why? Because I'm not the Power BI user. I don't work in this data team, and I want to have my reports inside the one system, which is Dynamics 365 Business Central. Which brings me that you can embed easily Power BI reports on the role center. And that way you will see your Power BI report inside the Business Central. So there is no need for you to go to the Power BI and explore the Power BI reports in the Power BI. What is also a very nice and interesting feature is that you can embed Power BI reports on the list pages, such as items, customers, and vendors. And for example, you will see in the demo that I will create one Power BI report, which will show me the inventory item quantity per inventory, per location. And how I go through the list, it will contextually filter this Power BI report. And also what you can do, you can edit Power BI reports inside the Business Central. So there is no need for you to go to Power BI and edit the reports. You can all do this from the Dynamics 365 Business Central. And this brings me to my next demo, and to show you how you can embed Power BI reports. Okay, this is still refreshing, so let's check once again. Yes, okay, so let's continue with our demo. What I created for this demo, as Steven already showed you, I created one query called inventory, which has the data item ledger entry. What is item ledger entry? It contains all the transactions for my items. And here I see item number, location code. What I need is remaining quantity, because I want to see what is my stock per location. But on item ledger entry, I don't have maybe the description or other fields which are connected to my item. For that, I have the data item, so which contains my product information here. And I link my item with item ledger entry. And from the item card, item table, I bring description, unit of measure, and unit cost information. So I have query with two data items. What I also have is locations, informations about my locations, my warehouses. If we take a look, I see that I have the locations. My data item is location, so warehouses, and I have the informations which I need from table location. After that, I created one Power BI report, which is here. I load the data from my queries. So here I have my item ledger entries. And here I have the information about locations. And I made simple connection between these two tables. And now what I can create is a Power BI report, which will show me where my items are stored in which warehouse. So for example, I have one warehouse in the Brussels, I have one warehouse in Antwerp, and I have one warehouse in Hasselt. Also, I can see this on the map, or I can create the inventory tree map diagram and chart where I will see also per location what I have on each location. Now I can publish this to my Power BI service. And what I will get when I navigate back is items by location reports and also the data sets, inventory availability by location. If I navigate here, I will find my two reports. So I can zoom it. If I hover, I can see what I have on each of those locations, warehouses. And this is now all Power BI. But what I want this to have inside my Business Central. Okay. Let me just connect again to my environment. Okay, so this is my Dynamics 365 Business Central. And now when I go to the items, I will receive the item list. And I see what is the inventory, but here I see only total inventory. I don't know how much I have in Brussels, how much I have in Antwerp, and so on. And for this, I have my Power BI. Okay, when I go to the actions, display, show hide Power BI reports. It will create the new fact box for me here on the right side. And on the Power BI reports, I have select report action. And here I see my Power BI reports from my Power BI. If you don't see your report here, this is because this Power BI page, Power BI report selection page, is filtered. And for example, if you go and clear filter, you will see your additional reports. And for example, let's go by items by location, enable this report, and click on OK. Immediately on the right side, you will see that I have my my map, which shows me that my item I have on in the Brussels location 12 pieces, and I have it in Antwerp 10 pieces. And because I have this also on the location which is blank, it will not show this on the map. But what is important here, that for example, when I go to London, it will move and say, okay, London, you have 500 pieces in the Brussels, and you have 5 pieces in the Hasselt, and you have 11 pieces in the Antwerp. And how I did this? In my inventory by locations, I have filter on all pages for my item number, which means that here system will filter my pages by item number, which is selected here in my item list. And you can go and see how you navigate. It will change the report based on the item you selected. Okay, so this is the first part. I have some map. What I can also do, I can enlarge this map, or I can use and export the data. Also, what I can expand the report. And here I will see my report as I can see him in my Power BI service. From here, I can go to, for example, different pages or do some filters and so on. You can navigate through the various reports, or for example, if you click select report, you can maybe use item availability again. And here you will also have different report, which if I'm navigating through them, you will see that it will automatically filter. When I click next, it will load different reports. So this is how you can easily embed Power BI in the list pages. What you can also do, when I go home, so on my home screen, if I scroll to the down, I have Power BI reports part. Here, if I click select report, I see that I don't have any filter, and I can embed here any report from my Power BI. So let's use customer orders intake, which Steven created for us. And let's click on OK. And here I will see the report which Steven prepared for me. What I can do, I can expand this report and see the details. So I will get the large screen. And for example, now if I filter, it will automatically apply these filters like I'm doing the filtering in my site, in my Power BI. Okay. What I also I can go and select Manage Report. It will open Power BI Management. And here now I can modify the reports. So for example, I don't want this fish. I, for example, want to have report like this. I can save this or save as, and this will be automatically applied to my reports. I will click cancel because I like this aquarium, which Steven provided for me. You can also upload the reports, so upload the Power BI file inside the Business Central, and on that way use upload automatically reports and use it from the Business Central. Let me just check if now this is connected to my data. It's still in refreshing the progress, but when we will have this available, let me check here. I will see Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central Sales application, and I can enable it here. And these are the reports which I have in my system. Okay, let's continue to our presentation. So Steven, do we have time for Dynamics 365 Business Central and Power Platform?
I think so. I will go over it quickly to give an overview of the possibilities.
Okay. I will stop sharing my screen.
All right, I will take over. Give me one moment. All right, just checking to see if you can see my screen.
I can see your screen.
All right, perfect. I'm quickly going to demo some extra possibilities because Power BI is a part of the Power Suite of tools. And you might also already be familiar with, for example, Power Apps. And if you go to the Microsoft Power Apps website, you can actually build your own apps from blank or using some templates. And by doing that, you can create apps with the user interface that get data from Business Central. They can display data, they can edit data, and create new data. To speed up the demo, I have already prepared an app, and it's called the App Inventory. And when I open it, it's very simply going to display me a list of items after I authenticate, of course. And these items come from Business Central. I'm doing this in an incognito window. That's why it's probably asking me multiple times to authenticate. But anyway, I can see all of the items I currently have in my Business Central instance. I can filter the list. I can open that list. I can do edits. I can also modify the information from my items, which is all very nice, and that is the purpose of Power Apps. But imagine that you're also creating a Power BI report with some item information. Then you should know that you can also embed the same app inside your Power BI report. The only thing that you need is the Power Up visual inside of your visuals in Power BI. If you don't have that by default, you might need to download it using the three dots. And if you do that, you can very simply select the apps you already created on the Power Apps website and also embed them in the Power BI report. If you do that, then within the Power BI report, you can, for example, provide a user a possibility not only to display information, but also give them an option to modify the information. So not only can you use Power BI to visualize information, you can also do some small edits and see them also reflected inside a Power BI report. Now, I quickly demo this because I simply would like you to be aware of the possibility. I'm also not saying it's an amazingly good idea to do, but it's a possibility. A long time ago, I got a question from a customer, and they asked me, "Well, Stephen, have this amazing report, but do I always have to go to Business Central to change the data?" I said, "Well, no. You can also create a Power App, embed that inside of the report, and do some small modifications and create data on the fly, which you can then very easily also visualize." So it's a very small demo, but I would like to invite you, if you're interested, simply try it out. It's not that difficult to create. Right.
Thank you, Stephen.
Going to give back the words to Renato. I think we're almost at the end of our presentation, and then we are going to do some questions and answers.
Thank you, Stephen. I will just share my screen again. Okay, so we saw that we can easily connect Dynamics 365 Business Central with Power BI, which is part of the Power Platform. We can connect Dynamics 365 Business Central data with external applications, such as Power Apps, and extend this with low code or not code. Also, what is one of the possibility to use Power Automate to automatize your decision process and so on. And we saw the demo from the Stephen, how you can do this on very small amount of time or with, let's say, no code. And this brings us to the end of today's sessions, where we want to thank you for your attention. And now, if you have any questions, feel free to ask us, or later, if you want to reach us, here we have our emails, and you can feel free to contact us, and we are happy that we can help you with your challenges which you have with the Power BI and Power Automate or Power App. And I also want to thank you for, and I hope that you learned something new today, and that if you will have any questions, that you feel free to send these questions to our emails, which are here on the slide.
Yep, the same is also valid for me. I would like to thank everyone, especially also Dynamics Conf for organizing this event in the community and giving us the possibility to do this small presentation and demo. Also would like to thank you, Renato, and the whole team. I hope everyone found it interesting, that you are inspired a little bit to get started with Power BI. Don't be too afraid. It's not that difficult as it seems. Just try it out. You can create these amazing dashboards, combine that with all of the other Power tools, and embed them in Business Central. If you might have any questions, you have our contact details, so feel free to send us an email. And Renato and I also have some blogs out there and Twitter accounts and social media, and I'm sure you'll be able to find us in case you might have any questions, and feel free to do that. And for the rest, I would like to say enjoy the conference and maybe see you next time.
Thank you, Stephen, and I hope that soon we'll all meet in person and have the conference in live. Thank you, Dynamics Con. Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.